So today we're gonna be discussing the one word, the one thing that I feel like is stopping a lot of traders from hitting consistent profitability, especially for those that have a proven working trading strategy or system, and they're really like this close to profitability. The only reason is because of this small little thing that you don't understand that you're unable to hit consistency. And all it is patience pays. That's a word that I really like to go off by. And it's truly important because being patient is one of the key moments or key aspects of a consistently profitable trader, especially if you want to do this full time like me. You have to develop patience. I used to be an extremely impatient person, especially when it comes to like video games, for example. I just charge in, get myself killed, and not going with a plan. But once I've started really focusing and locking in on trading, all that mindset and everything like that had to completely shift. And the reason why was I knew from after taking enough losses my first year trading that if I don't shift this mindset, I'm gonna stay unprofitable forever and I'm gonna keep on losing money, even if I've already done the back testing. Even if I already put in the work, I'm gonna stay unprofitable forever until I'm able to really be patient and wait for my setups. And so what we're gonna do today is show you some proven data to help you guys understand patience in that your setup is not occurring every like five, not sometimes not even 5 minutes. A lot of people, what happens is they tilt. And I'm talking on this because I've done it in the past. And I know many traders when they start, they will do this. It's almost like guaranteed. It's extremely hard for someone to come into trading and never revenge trade, never have tilted before, things like that. You typically will learn from them after losses, but obviously you want to know about them ahead of time. Therefore, finding ways to find yourself to build a discipline to prevent them, of course. But this back test today we're gonna do real quick is honestly not going to be applicable to everyone's strategy because again it depends on your strategy. If you're scalping on a 30 seconds or 15 seconds or 5 seconds like this, maybe you're getting a trade entry or setup maybe like every, I don't know, maybe you might even be getting a setup every 1 to 5 minutes or less than that, right? If it's even, that's kind of crazy to me. But some people are really scalping in seconds and being profitable with that system they made, right? It all depends on what you want to be trading, what type of system you want to be trading, what's your personality. You want to match it to the strategy that you teach. That's why I teach in the course 3 different strategies. I teach a scalping strategy, a swing trading strategy, and my normal intraday trading strategy. And they all work. And I just show the data behind it from backtesting, of course, through literally 4,000 plus trades of data. But I'm going to keep this word on the screen today because I think it's important and everyone should know about it. But yeah, we'll be doing some real quick testing of my specific system on how often do I get a setup. Now, for this, I'm going to go off, let's see if I can find any past trade that took recently. All right, so here's some trade that took actually literally extremely recently. I couldn't find my other trades and they're all in my trading journal. So unfortunately, they're not saved in TradingView just because I delete objects over time, right? I don't want to have 1,000 plus drawings within less than a week on my chart. It's just going to clutter it up and cause memory issues with TradingView. So, but from what I've got here so far, we just test this real quick. I mean, look, I took a loss here, right? Before I even take this loss though, you have to understand how much time it takes to wait for your valid PY. In this case, we had an origin here to hit. So I have to turn off this indicator real quick so I can draw with measuring tool. It took me about, okay, where was session open? We had a lot of chop in pre-session open. So this is like when you just, or at session open, this is when you just avoid taking trades. I think this was news at 9:30, or I have to check later, but I think it might have been news. If not, it was just extremely choppy in the morning. But essentially, let's say I was waiting for its origin, which I was, right? I'd have to be waiting 34 minutes. So I'll be sitting on my hands for literally 34 minutes, guys. And a lot of people cannot imagine doing that. A lot of people can't just sit at the chart for even 5 minutes. So imagine if on average, if you go to your data, let's say if on average you notice you take a trade setup every 30 minutes for backtesting, or even your past trades that are valid trades, then you realize that means in live time, you have to be staring at your chart and sitting in your hands for 30 minutes, man. Now let's just say I took, now if I took a short here, for example, right? Then sure, I don't have to be really sitting in my hands too much in terms of just purely waiting. However, I'm still sitting on my hands in terms of I'm not doing anything actively during that time. Why? Because even though I executed here, what was my last execution? 11:27. From here to here, I'm just letting my trade run and doing whatever trade management system I implement, right? Whatever that system is, whatever your system is, whatever your partial TPs, whatever you do. I don't do personally partial TPs. It overcomplicates the math. I like to keep it simple, but that's something some people do. But literally, when you are even in a trade, all you're doing is just sitting on your hands and waiting for price to play out and the probabilities to play out, whether or not that trade hits or TP or stop loss. You could be in a trade for an hour just for it to hit break even or stop loss. You can wait for 3 hours just for it to hit TP. Very rare. I typically just mainly exit at that point. It just means volatility and volume is not there and I'm probably trading at a bad time. But nonetheless, the point is a lot of trading is majority waiting. How much of your trading time is truly actively executing? Well, look, once you wait for your PY to hit, or whatever your trading system is, wait for your confirmation. Here, we wait about 13 minutes. Let's say you took an entry here, you probably waited about maybe 10 minutes, right? Whatever your trade confirmation is that you're trading off of, your trading model, you're not, all the time really is only a little bit of time waiting before you execute. And once you do execute, you're just sitting on your hands and waiting for the probabilities to play out. Like for example, here, I took my last loss here at 12.16. What did I do? I had to wait an hour and 25 minutes, guys. An hour and 25 minutes. Can you ask yourself, can you truly live, while live trading, sit and wait for 1 hour and 25 minutes of each candle printing? Now, check this out. You don't have to be sitting here actively on the chart for an hour and 25 minutes. You can come back once in a while, look at the chart, mark out new PYs. I have my indicator to send alerts and such at valid PYs for me automatically, so I don't need to do that. But if you don't have an alert system like mine with indicators that you've coded, you can just do this manually. Just wait. I mean, just wait and wait. Be patient and then set these alerts at potential areas that you're really looking to trade off of. Because otherwise, if you're standing at the chart the whole time, you could be developing screen time as long as you're not making execution errors. If you start finding yourself taking random shorts, longs here in the middle of nowhere without any confluence or basically any proven data or any setup, you're just gambling and it's not quality screen time. For quality screen time, you truly want to be patient and wait for a step to occur, or just tape read. Just look at how each candle is forming, look at how structure is forming, marking out your structure in live time, things like that is quality screen time. But once you start executing random trades and looking at your P&L and focusing on your P&L, which I feel like a lot of beginner traders start to do, and they think it's screen time, but it's not. It's not good screen time. You're actually building bad habits by taking random trades. Even though you think you're doing something, you're not actually doing something. You're going to the opposite side of profitability because you're focusing on your P&L when you're in the trade. You start tilting, you start taking random trades. You don't even, at that point, when you're taking these random trades and such, because that's what I did when I first started out, you're just literally wasting your time. You're wasting your time instead of making money while building quality screen time. In trading, quality matters a lot more than quantity, right? Yes, we need a trade sample size. Yes, we need frequency, but a lot of trade frequency with bad setups and poor executions is way worse than only a few trades taken, but all A+ or all sticking to your strategy and system that works, right? Less is more in trading when it comes to a proven system. If you're truly executing all the good setups and your P&L is negative, there might be something wrong with your system's expectancy. I'm gonna be honest. But if you're executing, because if you're executing properly, you should come out green after sample size and trades. But point is, you can see I had to wait literally, guys. I had to wait like an hour and 30 minutes. Most people can't wait 5 minutes. Most people tilt after 30 seconds or 5 seconds after they take this loss here, right? So you can keep in mind, I'm literally waiting here, staring at the chart, reading price but not doing really any active executions, which I could have here, right? Could have actually had an entry model here after sweeping this internal low, or I had an entry model here earlier, but I decided to wait for more confirmation of structure in case they did want to sweep the low. I annotated the chart in case you want to read through it. The point still stands that patience pays in trading. Quality of screen time matters over quantity, and that applies to the same with number of trades that you're taking. Okay, so remember, focus on quality, not quantity when it comes to trading as a whole. You can see, like, for example, let's say I wasn't looking for this long. Let's say even if I was looking for this short here, which I did have a setup here, I'm still waiting, guys, like an hour for that setup. It's not a setup that occurs every 5 minutes. You can make it a scalping system that occurs every 5 minutes if you want to, but that's why I tell you guys, go back on your data, look at your journaling, see how often and how frequent your setups occur and the average time between each one, and you'll know in live time that's how much time you can expect to go by an average before your next setup. Again, this is not going to be a very extremely important back test in my opinion. You don't need to know this, but it's something good to know if you find yourself tilting and taking random trades, to be a good reminder to yourself that your true edge executed maybe waiting X times number of minutes, not when you're taking trades every 2 minutes. That's a problem a lot of people have. They overtrade and they think they're doing something. In reality, they're just building a bad habits, and it's actually bringing you farther away from consistency. And as much as you hate to hear that, it's just completely true, right? Like, for example, if I find an example here, we took our previous day low here. This is a setup trade recap I did to the course members, and I might even upload it onto YouTube. We'll see what happens with that. But literally, like here, once we took our previous day low, what did I do? I literally waited, guys. I had an entry model here for sure early ahead of time. I just missed it. But literally waited for a potential chance to re-enter this trade idea of going long after taking our previous day low. How long did I have to wait for? You may ask. 2 hours, an hour and 50 minutes, 2 hours. After my POI got hit, I had to wait 2 hours for my first trade. So instead of taking trades like here, I definitely could have. I have a stop hunter setup right there. You can take it to the high if you want right there. There's a POI right here. I personally don't teach taking this POI here because this structure range is way too tiny to be considered a range to me. This is all internal structure. If you want to trade block flow like this, you can. I don't trade that. But basically for my main setup, I had to wait an hour or 2 hours just to take a loss. But guess what happened? Patience pays. I'm telling you guys. I waited more patiently, and luckily here I only had to wait like 3 minutes because my second trade idea was right below. Got the confirmation I needed, hit 10 RR in a matter of 16 minutes. That's it. If you truly want to think about how much time is truly executing and trading, it's 1 second. That's the true execution time. Now, if you have trade management, that will add to that time, right? Technically, you're actively trading if you're in a position. If you're in a position, you're technically actively trading because you have to manage your trade, whether you manage your trade or not. If you don't have a trade management system, you're not really actively trading at the time. You have a position actively running, but you're not going to be doing anything with your trade, right? You don't have to look at your screen if you have a set and forget type of style method. And I know of traders that do have that and are very profitable, right? They have good narrative, they have screen time, they build that experience in back testing, and they have a good model. So depending on if you do trade management or not, your execution time as a trader is technically 1 second. It's just clicking that buy or sell button and maybe making a few decisions on correct position sizing really on the trade. But nowadays if you have calculators for that, they can do that very quickly for you. So it should not be too much really time. Majority of the time, guys, is just waiting, man. It's just waiting. And a lot of people just keep thinking it's not when it really is. Like, you just have to wait, man. You just have to wait. And people will just get impatient because in a typical job, or typically like if you're studying for exam, practicing for a sport, you're actively doing something the whole time to make the most amount of your time, use of your time. But in trading, it's the complete opposite. Fear and greed controls everything in the market, and is all like everything in trading is opposite of what human nature is. That's why it's so hard for people to become profitable. But obviously another reason is they don't have an edge, or they don't have enough screen time, experience, or back tests that to back up what their training is even works. That's obviously another reason. But another component is that 90% where like people just cannot be patient and truly wait for the setup. Even though in back testing, you can okay, here's a problem. One problem with back testing, I still 100% recommend you have to back test before you trace something live to make sure it works. But the main downfall of back testing that you can only train by live trading is things like this: developing the skill of patience. Patience is a skill, guys, and it's part of a component of being a good trader. Because execution is one thing, back testing is another thing. In back testing, you can go 2 hours of price action within 10 seconds, maybe 20 seconds, right? Within a minute, you can play all this out. You can even skip 4-hour bars, right, through your TP. So just keep that in mind when you're live trading after you have done back testing. Like here, after I hit TP here, I waited about an hour for my next setup patiently. I just had to wait and sit on my hands for an hour, whether that is an hour setting alert. If I set alert at the high here for that sweep, then I'm really not spending this hour looking at the chart here, unless I might come back right to the chart and look at how price is playing out. But typically, yes, I will look at the chart during most of my trading session, because that's what I do. There's not much else I do in terms of like income outside of trading, and I don't get paid from YouTube at all, by the way. None of my videos are monetized, so you guys don't get ads. But yeah, basically that's not the point. The point is I'm still actually looking at trade chart for me personally, but you don't have to the whole time. It really depends, but I could just set alert very simply here and do nothing until that alert gets fired. What that does is it helps me from taking random trades and focuses on quality over quantity. So, once I got that TP, nice. And here I only waited 13 minutes between this trade into my next setup. So again, it will vary, guys. Sometimes your time that you wait will be a long time, an hour. Sometimes it will be very quick. It just all depends on the context of your trade and what you're really looking for, right? But typically for me, the first setup is going to take the most time because you're waiting for that perfect moment to take a trade. And once you take that trade, for me, I trade reversals. So once I take the trade, where's my TP? My TP is basically at the point where I'm anticipating price to reverse. If I'm anticipating price to create a real move in the structure in the market, not a manipulation leg like this here, I got manipulated here. If I was truly expecting a true move, I'd probably get my trade confirmation within 10 minutes, 10 minutes or less, usually on average, and I would already be in another trade. So that's typically how my system works. Unless I don't have enough conviction behind taking that reversal again, then I just don't take that trade and skip entirely. Like I'd skip this, of 100% skip this. This is in the middle of nowhere. There's no confluence at all here. Nothing got mitigated. So hopefully that does make sense to y'all. Definitely go back test, collect your data on how much time you have to wait for your setup, your strategy and system. And yeah, hopefully this video will help you guys out there and develop more patience and understand patience pays.